Hey, it's Alex here from Babcia and Yia Yia. We're so happy that you joined us today. Today, we're talking about all the different configurations that show up when we travel, from family travel, multi-gen travel, to our favorite travel buddies. So sit back, grab a glass of wine, enjoy a little time with us as we travel dream about all the travel yet to come. Welcome to another episode of Babcia and Yia Yia Travel the World. It's a place where we like to spend some time talking about all things travel and how travel can be part of your lifestyle, whether you're hanging out at home or you've got boarding passes in your hands. My name is Alex and I play the Babcia role. I'm a travel junkie who loves to share my travel experiences as a travel blogger and a travel coach. As always, I'm here with my bestie, Terri.
That's right. Yaya is here, and today we are chatting about travel partners. Who
That's
do you
you.
travel? I know, my travel buddy. So, who do you travel with? Maybe your family, perhaps your friends. Maybe you are someone who prefers being all on your own, like traveling solo. No matter who you plan to hit the road with, we've got some helpful tips and great stories to share with you. As always, we are ready to share some of the things that keep us travel happy. We'll talk books, food, travel tips, and products that we love. And it all starts with a little segment we like to call Now Boarding.
In this week's Now Boarding, we're talking all about who's your travel buddy? Who do you travel with? Are you a solo traveler or are you somebody who likes to be part of a group? We have a ton of choices for you this week. And so let's start with our global book pick. Terri, start us off.
Oh, okay, so let me start. Okay, so my book, I would say it's an adult book, okay? It is called What I Was Doing While You Were Breeding, and it's by Kristen Newman. I mean, it's funny. It's almost like a travel 50 Shades of Grey. You know, all her friends are settling down, having babies, and she's traveling the world getting her freak on while everyone else is breeding. So it's a great, funny, light read.
A lot of fun, I thought. It was very silly in some areas, and you definitely know how she feels about her friends with children.
Yeah, and I think I've heard mixed reviews on this, but I say give it a try. If you're uncomfortable with the sexapades, you can always skip it. But
Mhm.
if that's if you kind of lighthearted and ha ha ha, it's a good read.
My pick is the extreme opposite of that book, completely different. It's called How to Be a Family. The Year I Dragged My Kids Around the World to Find a New Way to Be Together by Dan Quass is his name. And I will say, he really dragged his kids around the world. They were not willing participants in this until the very end. And you're kind of glad that they finally got it. But it's all about this dad and how he felt like so disenfranchised by the typical way of raising kids. He's like, I'm out of here. I can't do this anymore. And he took off with his family. So a super cool way to kind of see the world and see it through new eyes. I kind of like that idea. And regardless whether you're traveling solo or you're traveling with your family or in a large group, you've got to make sure that whatever destination you choose matches your group size. Can I just say this one more time?
Yeah, say it again.
Match your group size to your destination. If you go to Paris with a party of 8, you will never sit down at a cafe. It won't happen. If you're in Japan with a party of, 10 because you and your neighbors are going, you will always have to make a reservation no matter where you go. There are just so many places that do not handle large groups. So the smaller your group, the more destinations are open to you.
So
Definitely.
choose wisely. Okay.
Yes.
Well, my travel tip is going from not talking about a group, but let's say you are flying solo. And I did this a lot previous summers when the world was normal, and I always had an accountability person that I checked in with. So they knew where I was, where my destination, my flight number, all the important information. So you need to make sure you have an accountability buddy.
And I think you bring up a very good point because I think sometimes people think more about an accountability person if they're getting their passport stamped. But that's not always the case. Some of the places that we go inside the United States have a far more significant crime rate than some of the places that you can go overseas. There are certainly places that I would think are far more um, solo travel friendly than some of the places in the United States. So just because it's close by, don't kind of give up that accountability partner idea. And it's easy when you're in kind of a classic family situation where you have a spouse and you're going to be constantly checking in with your spouse. Great. But I look at my mom who traveled as a widow to the Middle East. Yeah, I think you need to check in with me, mom, and you need to not tell me that the internet's down on the cruise ship. Like
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I I definitely want to be aware of where you are. Or, if my daughter's on her way to LA, I want to make sure that she knows I landed and I'm checking in just to say landed, even
Yeah.
that much is enough. So I do think that that's an important travel tip. So, as we're talking about travel buddies, I have to say, like who you're traveling with, one of the things that I have learned to bring with me when I have a group is a power strip. And you may say, I don't get it. I am telling you that it is so helpful to bring a power strip with you. Now, I know when you think of power strips, we think of the big, long gray ones that kind of have the light up button on the end.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I actually found a super cool small one that can plug into an international adapter and it can hold 3 plugs and 3 USB ports. And while many international adapters have those great things, it is so helpful to have this little bit of an extension. And I have to say this, how many times have we left our chargers in a hotel room in the United States?
Oh, all
Because
the time.
right? Because everybody plugs into a different outlet all around the room. This puts them all in one place and you only have to unplug once and you're sure that you are bringing everything with you. So I'm a big fan of the travel power strip and we have a really good one in the show notes this week. What about you? What's your cool travel product?
Mine is going back to traveling with a group. I like to use, if I'm traveling with a group, to have the group luggage tags. Everybody. Same color tags. Get them on Amazon. We have it noted in, and pick your color. We're going to be the oranges, whatever, so you can easily identify your luggage. It's great.
It's true, and it's a quick count. Like, it's easy to find if you all have the same tag. Therefore, you're not kind of waiting around for a bag that you've already gotten, you know?
Yes.
So it definitely helps with logistics.
We're supposed to have
Definitely.
7 orange tags. Do we have them all? Come
And
on.
then get the heck out of there. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's really good for complex itineraries too. Like if you're doing planes, trains, and automobiles, that's probably a really good idea just because you're going to have to keep track of so much along
Yes.
the way. Yeah. And that's what tour groups do. That's what cruise ships do. I mean, they all use that strategy anyway. Okay, let's talk travel bridges. What is new on the radar for you?
For me, I love travels with my father, and
Oh my gosh.
they came out when they were in Australia, and I'm telling you, I just love the experience that the father and the son have together. And I don't really think it's so much of what you're seeing, but it's so cool how they see Australia and the parts that they go to. Because, Jack will take him to some of the shadier, off the beaten path places. And
Yes.
his father is such a good sport about it. and goes along. Hint, there could be some drag queens in this. I'm not sure, but he plays along, and it's just a great show. I mean, I just love watching them experience places together.
It's the ultimate travel buddy show.
Yeah, ultimate.
Ultimate. Yeah, yeah. Well, I will tell you, if we're on Netflix, then I'm going to bring up two things that I've seen on Netflix lately. First of all, I don't know if anybody has missed out on that ridiculously silly murder mystery movie. It's called Murder Mystery with Jennifer Aniston and Adam
Yes,
Sandler.
yes.
Okay. Whoever came up with this idea literally used the words and hijinks ensue. So I totally appreciated it, and it's great because it's all on the French Riviera and Italian
Yes,
Riviera where it happens. So it's got a lot of great travel pieces to it, but it also really brings to mind what a travel deal is. Get that lesson out of it while you're enjoying the rest of it, because what their travel deal was compared to what they did were two very, very, very different things. And the other one that comes to mind for me on Netflix right now, Eat, Pray, Love is out on Netflix. And oh, Julia Roberts going to all the different places and let's go eat pasta. Please, I'm in. I'm in. I could watch it over and over again.
and can I just plug? Read the book. The book is good too. If you're not a book reader, watch the movie because you're going to want to smile with your liver after you see it. But I'm just saying, the
I
books are
agree.
always better.
The books are always better, but we're two teachers, and we're always going to say that. But I really have to say, I really think it's true.
Yeah.
So we've been talking a lot about the idea of solo travel and the idea of group travel. And I have to say, when you are in a big group, our food tip this time around, try eating at the central markets or the food truck spots or the area with street food so that everyone can choose their favorites. It gives everybody a chance to kind of get whatever they want. And it could be like a no stress meal, which is nice when you have a big group. And those places exist more and more and more and more. As a matter of fact, the one in Singapore, the Central Market food area in Singapore, is Michelin rated. It's
Puckers.
thank you, $3 for something, and it's got a Michelin star attached to it. So you can't go wrong. I think that it's definitely a huge, big group travel solution. What about you?
And I agree with you. I just want to add, I do think that's a really, really good idea. I have a group of ladies that I see, and there's one that is so picky. We can't go eat here. She doesn't eat this. We can't go
Hmm.
there. So it's such a great idea. So leading to eating, because we love it,
Hmm.
avoid being hangry. Avoid being hungry, which is going to make you angry. So make sure you're talking with your travel buddy and you know the game plan because you know me, I like to be fed. If I'm fed, I'm going to do anything you want to do.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
we got it straight up what we need to do. So make sure you have a plan for that.
Yeah, and everybody is a little bit different, but I'll give you an example of a really good way to avoid this. Um, in Austria, you can go up the vernacular to go see the Austrian Alps, and it's got this beautiful view. It's got all of these great things, but there's a restaurant up there. So go up there, eat, people who want to eat slower and kind of relax, maybe take in a glass of wine, could stay at the table. People who want to go do something can walk around and take in the view and use the telescopes and maybe walk down a little path, those kind of things where everybody's kind of like on their own schedule and still completely engaged. So definitely worth it. Definitely. Let's talk travel tech.
All right. And this kind of goes back with you. I was kind of making the connection when you talked about the power strip and all that.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, how is it when you go on a flight and your kid's like, hey, mom, I need a charger? Or you get to the hotel and everyone's like, where's my charger? Where's my charger? Well,
Mhm.
get the electronic cable organizer. You have everything organized in a bag. So you can just whop, 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 whop. Here they are. Keep it all in a central location, organized. Then you will not be leaving your chargers. You will have everything you need right there in your little organizer. Go on Amazon and get it.
It is the worst when that happens because then you're kind of like off your game and your day is ruined because somebody's battery isn't working, like all of those kind of things. I agree, even if you use it just to make sure that every slot that should be filled is filled before you leave a hotel room. Huge help. Good.
Amen. And you can
Yeah.
label it because you don't want your child saying, that's my charger. Nope.
Mhm.
Nope. Your name right here. If you didn't put it back there, it's not my problem.
That's exactly it. Okay, my travel tech tip for the week is an app called TripIt. It's also a website, and TripIt is a place that will import all of your itinerary information into one central location that you can then share with all of your group that's traveling with you, whether it's one person, whether it's the accountability person if you're a solo traveler, or whether it's a big group of people. I have used TripIt for several years now, and I have to say, I love it. And here's the most important part: it accesses your itinerary when you're not on Wi Fi. So when you're standing,
What?
yes, when you're standing at a hotel desk and you haven't gotten the Wi-Fi access yet, you still have your room number or your reservation number, and you can get to everything that you need to without having to go and log on to some public Wi-Fi somewhere. So I love TripIt. It's an incredible organizational tool, and like Terry, I'm the logistics person who's thinking about the cable organizers and the group luggage tags. This definitely fits that. And anything that we've mentioned here is in our show notes for today's episode.
Yep.
Okay, Terry, so let's get down and dirty with the different kind of ways that you can travel. Let's start with solo travel. How do you feel about it?
Well, you know what? The first time I traveled solo, I was like, oh, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm going to have to go eat by myself in a restaurant and this and that. Well, I it's not bad. You kind of can you meet people, you talk to people. You're not alone, but
Mhm.
I'm pretty good with it. But I do like, if I have to travel solo, I can, but I prefer the company of someone to go with. How about you?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I feel like I'll solo travel if I have to, and I've done it in a couple of places. I did it in Africa, I did it in Livingstone, Zambia, and I've done it in Dubai, and a couple of different places in the States. I've done it. I'm not the biggest fan, but I certainly enjoy myself. I feel like I would be a better solo traveler going back to places I've already been. Like if I went back to Japan, I would totally do the solo travel
Oh
thing.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it wouldn't bother me. So I guess maybe it's not a bucket list for me,
No,
but
yeah.
it's something that I'll certainly do, especially if I'm kind of revisiting something again. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, so let's like swing the pendulum the other way. How do you feel about organized big bus tours?
Well, when I was younger and my grandmother lived with us,
Mhm.
we always had to take her on a separate vacation. So we would go on these big bus tours. I think they
Mhm.
were called something. I don't remember. But you load up on with this big tour on the bus, and I was the youngest person on there,
Oh.
and I am not I think it depends on where you're going, really, but I am not a fan of planned, stereotypical big tours.
I
It
I
just
can
it just doesn't work for me because
yeah,
I feel like I'm not in control.
yes. I will say this. This is to me is the big stereotype. as a teacher, I feel like it's one big field trip and I don't want to be there because that's what I do for work.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
like I just don't even like it. I really don't like, probably the number one thing, I really don't like not having control over the plans that are being made.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
have to agree to all of it or none of it. I
And
don't
then
get to
you
customize anything.
and then you get there and you're like herding cattle off a bus and you see other people going, "Oh my god, the bus tour's here. We got to hurry." You know.
Yes, and I do think that it's a time waster in that respect. The larger the group, the more time it takes to do anything, which can be so limiting to the experiences that you have. You certainly need a ton of patience to do this. On the other hand, I do think that there can be a sense of security
True.
with it. Like, I feel like if you're new to traveling, this might be a great first step. I also think that a ton of good guides exist in this realm that are super qualified to be bringing you to a place, but it can be difficult to get the most out of them. So, not for me, but I understand why it's for some others.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah, yeah. Okay, now those are like those big tours, especially like the ones that kind of come off the cruise ship, that they certainly exist on that. But what about going with a group of people?
I'd be
How do you
I'd be game for it. It depends on who the people are.
Mhm.
Because as a young person, I know that my family took a trip to Hawaii with another family, and I think it was a disaster.
Yeah.
It was a disaster. I think you let one person do the planning,
Mhm.
which would be and they work everything out. Everybody's got to compromise because it's not about you. You're not solo tripping,
Mhm.
you know, and I think it's a great idea. I would not have a problem going with a group as long as there's some guidelines that we follow. One person's in charge.
Mhm.
What do you
Mhm.
feel? What are your thoughts on that? Because I know
Well,
you've done it.
I I travel with a group of people a lot, and I have to say, I think the first thing is that everybody's got to be realistic with who does what kind of the same way, because you want to be with like-minded people. And if everybody's got the same travel goal, I think it's worth it. I am a person who does not believe more than four works. I think four is like the biggest that I'll ever go again. I've gone with six. I've gone with 10. I'm not, to me, the larger the group, the less you get to do and the more compromise you're going to have to make with absolutely everything. So, group travel is also family travel, so like I have three kids, so we're five if we go anywhere. It can be limiting again. I think that there are definitely issues with finding tables. Especially overseas. That's not something that happens in the United States. It's very easy for us to do that. People are used to space and big in the United States, but when you
Mhm.
go overseas, that's just not the norm.
Yeah.
And so it definitely, just to me, it's a time consumer. My time is super precious. However, there are some group travel experiences that can be totally worth it, like multi-gen travel.
Yeah, I like that idea because you can choose some group activities, so you have that quality time together. But then, you have the older kids with you. Let them go and do something they want to do. Break
Mhm,
apart into your small groups and say, okay,
mhm.
we're reporting back here. We're going to meet here at this time. And
Yeah.
everybody gets to do what they want to do, their interest. And I think it works.
Yeah, and I have to say, one of my favorite places for multi-gen travel is a cruise. I think it's so great for that because you do everybody can kind of go and do their own interests and everybody meets back for dinner kind of thing. I think that's totally worth it. I will tell you something that I think is not worth it. and that is traveling with young children.
Mm.
I am just not in that headspace anymore because I remember all the work it took to do that, and it was all on me.
But you did it, and back then you didn't know, and the kids have those memories, you know?
Yeah, well, I'm talking about even the super, super young ones. I feel like great travel starts at probably 6 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think before that is really just practice, because
Dress rehearsal.
yes, exactly. So, I don't know.
Okay,
I'm
so
wishy washy with it.
all right, so not young children. Let's go to the other topic of teenagers.
Ugh.
Which one's worse?
I think the young kids are worse because at least the teenagers, when they have an attitude, I can walk away.
True.
I can
True.
walk away for a minute, for a hot minute, and kind of get myself together and kind of circle back to, deal with the I want to be independent. I want to do things my way. You're offending me, whatever it is that's kind of in the way. So I do think teenagers are far more capable. And I think the key, regardless of what age of child you're bringing, and when I say child, I mean also your parents who can sometimes be childlike in quality. Um, I think, regardless, is keeping them involved by making some of those decisions, giving them limited choice in what's going on. Like, we can eat at this restaurant or that restaurant. That kind of this or that attitude can help kind of develop some ownership. And I do think that that is important, regardless of the age you're dealing with. It puts everybody in a better frame of mind. So, kind of having that trick up your sleeve, I think, is really important.
Oh
What
yeah.
are some places that you would recommend to all of the people out there who know that they are traveling with a group of more than 4? Where are some of those places that you think are worth it?
Okay. So one trip that I did do with my family and my parents is we went to Alaska. And the thing we did when we got to Alaska is we rented an RV.
Mhm.
So the RV was there at the airport when we got there. We got in at night, so we were able to get in the RV. You were able to stay overnight there in your RV, and then you were up ready the next day, ready to go. And it was a great experience for our group. We could
Mhm.
go, we drove all over. I mean, it was fabulous. So that is definitely one of my picks is Alaska is amazing to see. Renting the RV, especially have people where you want to see the country, where you want to
Yeah.
drive and see. So that is super, super great idea. I would recommend it to anybody.
Yeah, I agree. I did Alaska through the cruise. And I happen to think that Alaska is probably America's playground. There are so many activities for so many age groups there. There was
Oh,
something for
yes.
everyone. And I think it's a great big group place to go for sure. I think, renting a house on the beach somewhere and making that your destination can be totally worth it so that
Oh,
everybody's
yeah.
kind of got a little bit of room. I think that's worth it. I think Australia definitely has the room to take a big group.
Yeah.
You definitely get away with it. And I will say this, another place that comes to mind for me is going on safari in Africa because you can find accommodations that will accommodate a larger group. And sometimes that can make the cost per person kind of go down a little. So I do think those are all good places for big groups. But I want to get to probably my favorite kind of travel, and that is the girlfriend getaway.
Yes. Don't
Yeah.
we need you need it sometimes.
Yes, if I am traveling with somebody, I like to be with the girls. I am huge on this. It is my mental health break. I usually can keep it far more simpler than if I have the kids and the husband and all the
Mm-hmm.
other periphery around it. I usually wind up with the same interests of who I'm choosing to go with, and the logistics are far easier. To me and one or two other people, I'm in. I'm totally in.
Yes.
Yes. And where are some places that you would go for a girlfriend getaway? Whether your girlfriend is your sister,
Oh.
your daughter, your mom, your best friend, where would you go?
Okay, so let me this is a place that Casey and I really want to go to. So it's one of these girl trips that I want to take. But we
Mhm.
want to go to the Whistle Stop Cafe.
Oh, fun.
But that's something that we are interested in doing. So I think it depends on,
Mhm.
what we're doing. I know you and I went to where did we were in were we in Maryland somewhere? I don't remember the place. We went for a couple nights and it was great just to get away and go out to
Oh,
dinner and
yeah.
relax. Yeah.
We were in Maryland, weren't we? We did do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
we've done New York City together.
yes, Savannah's always great. I'm thinking about what's close to me. Savannah's a
Mhm.
fun getaway. Even
Mhm.
St. Augustine, which is close to me, is a good fun getaway. Get
Mhm.
you something on the beach,
Mhm.
relax, chat.
Yeah, I think there are other really great girlfriend experiences too. I think Japan is a great one. I think Greece is an incredible one. I mean, how many times have we said we're renting that catamaran, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
I think Paris is another great one because I want to be able to sit on a square, a piazza, a central area, and just people watch for a little while. I'm totally down with that.
And I did have my bucket list trip
Hmm.
last summer that
I
Casey,
know.
we were going to go to Paris and London and Greece.
Ugh.
Thank you. Thank you, pandemic. Thank you.
Well, I do think that everything that we've mentioned really kind of makes people reconsider who their travel partners on. So let us know, who's your travel buddy and why do you travel with them? We'd love to hear from you. All right, Terry, it's time for our brand new segment to wrap things up on our show, Travel Buddies. And apparently, you and I say, I agree
Agree.
all the time. So much so that a listener wrote in to remind me about it. So, fine. I can say I agree with my bestie all the time, and I'm good with that. So, here's our first I agree topic. Ready?
I'm ready.
Netflix's Emily in Paris. Have you watched it yet?
Haven't watched it. Briefly looked at it. Actually, I just kind of looked at the picture and I was like, oh man, this is kind of cheesy and I'm not feeling jazzed about it. But I'm glad that you took the leap and you watched it. So
I
now tell me,
I did watch it. Well, I have to say, it was really great to see Paris just because I miss Paris, right?
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. But for the stereotypical characters that were in it, I thought that they kind of went really overboard and they were kind of maybe trying too hard. So the storyline itself isn't what's worth it. It's seeing all the shots in Paris that are worth it. So I have to say I wasn't really jazzed by it. And you know what that means, Terry?
What? We
I agree.
agree. The travel industry has taken quite a blow from several global issues, including the war in Ukraine, the climb out of the COVID-19 crisis, and inflation that makes it hard for people to get out into the world like they want to. At this point, leading experts are predicting that it's going to take up to 3 years for the travel industry to bounce back to full force. One way that you can help the travel industry is to like and subscribe to 10 microbloggers. Each time you do, you're telling all those travel industry experts that you are ready to enjoy everything that the world has to offer, and you can start with us.
That's right. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and even LinkedIn at Babcia and Yia Yia. That is Babcia and YIA. We'd love to hear from you. Contact us at babciandyaya@gmail.com with your questions, suggestions, favorite travel tips, products, and travel trends so that we can share your ideas in the future.
Babcia and Yia Yia is our home base for everything we love about travel. It's where our blog and show notes live and where we share access to all of our resources, including travel literacy for kids. We always have new posts about all the things we love about travel, including today's topics, as well as featured destinations, travel lifestyle, and stories to make you smile.
Didn't get all of that? No worries. Just check out our show notes for all of the ways to stay in touch and links to anything we chatted about in this episode. As always, thanks for joining us for our journey.
Boom. That's it. We don't have to do the rest.
I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, we're still recording.
Wait, hold on. We're still recording. You want to know why? Because I didn't hit record. So let's just do that one more time.
Okay.
Okay. Say I agree with me. Ready?
I agree.
One more time.
I agree.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. I agree. Okay. Okay. So you know what that means, Terri?
I agree.
Okay. Okay. Ready?
Are we saying it together?
Yeah, we're going to try. One more time. Okay. 3, 2, 1. I agree. Okay. Why don't we try we agree? Let's try that one.
Okay.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. We agree. Okay. We'll see how it turns